Did you know if you're trying to buy a home from a family member, you could do it with no money out of pocket? Still paying off their mortgage, getting them the cash that they want, and making it a win-win for everybody. You could do this completely covering your down payment, all your closing costs, and wrapping it all into one transaction. Hi, I'm Justin Brown, a real estate investor, personal finance junkie, and a 22-year mortgage broker. Make sure to hit that like and subscribe button so you don't miss out on my weekly videos going over everything around home buying, real estate investing, and some personal finance. So today I'm going to cover using a gift of equity. This is where you buy a home from a family member and they're able to gift you equity, allowing you to buy a home with nothing out of pocket and allowing your family member to sell you the home and them still getting some proceeds at the end. So you're able to take advantage of this with most loan programs, but it's primarily going to be used on a conventional or FHA loan. But keep in mind, they have to be an actual family member, a blood relative, and it's also going to have to be a home that you plan to live in. Can do this with investment properties on conventional loans, but there's different requirements, and that's going to be another video. So let's start with FHA. If you've been pre-approved for an FHA loan, you probably know by now the minimum down payment is 3.5% down. But if your family member has enough equity and they want to sell you the home, they could gift you that 3.5% down plus all the closing costs, all coming out of their equity and not out of your pocket. But it does mean that the seller will get a little bit less proceeds at the end, or less of the equity that they have when the sale closes. So let me break down how this works really quick. For easy math purposes, let's say they're selling you a home that they own for $100,000. Now, normally if you buy it for $100,000, they're still going to have their normal closing costs from selling a home that they would have selling it to anybody. And let's say on $100,000, that would roughly be about $3,500. So if they own the home free and clear, they sold it to you for $100,000 and they had about $3,500 in normal closing costs, that would mean when it's all said and done, the seller would walk away with about $96,500. Well, if it's your relative, they could also gift you the down payment and closing costs basically out of those proceeds that they were getting. So it will just reduce what they walk away with at the end. So let's say in addition to that $3,500 in closing costs that they have as a seller, you would also have about $7,000 in normal closing costs. If you were buying a $100,000 home, that would be your down payment and your closing costs. Well, they could then cover that out of their proceeds as a gift of equity, meaning there's then no money out of pocket for you, but then their proceeds that they walk away with would get reduced down to about $89,000 or $89,500. So gifting you equity is basically taking out some of the money they would be getting at the end as proceeds from the sale. So if you're talking to a relative about selling you a property for a reduced price because they're trying to help you out, it might be better if they actually sell it to you at the market price, but then they do a gift of equity so that your down payment and closing costs are all covered, and they could still potentially net or walk away with the amount of money they were hoping to at the end by planning on selling it to you for that reduced price, but instead structuring it this way to use it as a gift of equity to cover your costs. And for conventional loans, it basically works the same way. The minimum down payment on a conventional loan is 3%, which can also come from a gift of equity from a family member that wants to sell you their home and help you out. Here's the thing, there's no limit to how much of a gift of equity they could give you. So if they want to give you a 20% down payment or 10% down payment or a much larger amount than the minimum, that's perfectly okay. So just know this is all possible. If you want to buy a home from a family member, you can do it with no money out of pocket, with no down payment and no closing costs if they have enough equity to cover it for you, and they're going to still walk away with enough money to where they're happy as well. But the best way to wrap your head around all this is honestly to sit with a mortgage professional that knows how to break this all down and give you a clear set of numbers that shows you and the seller exactly what it looks like, so you can start adjusting and making decisions on the best way to structure it from there. Now for VA loans, they already require zero down, but there's still some creative ways to structure this using a VA loan if you're eligible when you are buying a home from a family member, which can result in a better payment and a better deal for you all around. So if you are using VA financing and buying a home from a relative, don't assume because you already don't have to put any money down that this still can't be a good way to go if you're buying a family member's home and they want to help you out with some of the equity that they have. So if you're already pre-approved for just about any loan program out there and you have a family member that owns a home that's willing to work with you, this is definitely going to be one of the best ways to go. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you next video.